So how frustrating is it to stand over the golf ball, needing to pull a good shot off, only to rush the downswing and see a terrible result? Well, we're going to fix that in this video where I'm going to teach you how you can stop rushing your downswing. So how to stop rushing the downswing. I'm sure you've been there, you've experienced that on the golf course as I have. It's incredibly frustrating. But the good news is there's some simple things that you can do in practice. We're going to share with you those today to help you overcome that. Now, just before we get started, I just need to say a massive thank you to Pitch London, which is where I am today. This incredible venue right in the heart of London enables you to play golf where you wouldn't think you'd be able to. So I'll link all the details down below. Definitely worth checking out if you're in the area. So how do you stop rushing the downswing? Well, the reality is, it's a feeling. It's something which golfers often kind of sense when they hit a bad shot. And they'll say things like, I rushed or I got quick. And very often, if we can measure actually how fast that golf club is traveling, it's slower. It's slower than what we would see on their good shots. What they really are communicating there is that the transition of their swing was a little quick. Down at impact, it might have been slower, or the whole swing might not have been faster, but it was that transition phase which got a little quick. Now, what typically happens from there? Well, typically when we get that transition happening a little quick, you know, the weight tends to stay on the back leg, the ball, well, in that case, it went severely left, the strike was poor, I hit the ground before the ball, and, you know, certainly to me, that felt rushed and it felt quick and it didn't feel like I had enough time to hit the golf ball. And we've all seen these incredible players on TV. It looks like they've got loads of time to swing to the top, let the club drop and swing through. So how do we achieve that? How do you get that into your golf game? Well, the first little exercise we're going to do is a very, very simple counting drill. Counting 1, 2, 3 is an incredible way to start to change this in your golf swing. Someone who rushes the golf swing, if they were to count, it would be very much 1, 2. Count to 2 and they've already hit. What I'd love you to do is have number 2 as the transition of your swing and number 3 as the contact. So I'll do this very slow to begin with, but it would be 1, 2, 3. So simply counting to 3, or in all honesty, you can use any words, but use 3 different cues to help you. 1 is the backswing, 2 is the transition, 3 is the contact. Now I'm going to hit one. I'm going to do this relatively slow speed, but hopefully as I count those numbers out loud, you'll be able to hear how I'm doing that. 1, 2, 3. Now, much better strike, direction was good, and it felt like I had time. It didn't feel rushed. And that's really what we're trying to get you to kind of get out of these drills, is that sensation of a little bit more time to hit the golf ball rather than that kind of rushed feeling that many of you will experience. So that's our first little exercise. It's a simple counting drill. The second little exercise, and this one's possibly a little bit more difficult, is really trying to sort of get us to understand that the speed in the golf swing needs to be down at impact. It doesn't need to be much earlier in the golf swing. So what I'd love you to do is hit a shot where the transition is as slow as you can make it, but then down at impact you've got as much speed as you can. So that would look a little bit like this. So almost the point where there was a little pause there. There was almost like a pause at the top of my golf swing. Now, that did feel quite extreme to me because that's not my normal swing. But if you're someone who hits from the top, if you kind of start to try and increase the club head speed as fast as you can, that's going to be incredibly difficult. You'll have it in your mind what you're trying to do, and you'll get to the top, and then before you know it, you've hit the ball. And you actually find it quite difficult to control the golf club. This is really teaching us control. It's teaching us that we don't need to hit from the top. It's teaching us that actually we can let that golf club kind of fall into position and then we can go ahead and swing through. It's teaching us some new skills that we maybe haven't had before. So that's a great little exercise. Neither of those are great for the course. The first one we were going at slow speed, the second one even slower speed. So what can you do on the golf course that might help you? Well, a great little thing that you can do is actually just begin to lift your lead heel as you start to complete your backswing. And we see, you know, lots of golfers now having that as part of their golf swing. It doesn't need to come right off the ground, but just having a little bit of lift is great. Why does that help? Well, it gives us something that we can use to start the golf swing. It gives us something that we can start to begin that downswing. The key thing here is starting that downswing from the ground up. Without that trigger, That's when we start to often get the kind of hands and the arms initiating, the weight stays on that back leg, and that's where we get that sensation of feeling rushed. So as we get to the top, that heel lifts a little, and then as I get to the end of my backswing, I can start to initiate the downswing by resetting that heel. That helps me get my lower body engaged early. It helps me get my weight onto my lead side. Then I can deliver the golf club. But because I've started with the lower body, I'm in position and I'm going to strike the ball much more solid. And this one we can absolutely take to the course. So you'll see a little bit of a raise in that lead heel before I start my downswing. And a much better strike and a much better shot. Now, it's a bit short of the green because that flag is 200 odd yards away, but that carried 180 yards. So for a 7-9, great. But I started by setting that heel down, feeling that the weight moved, then I delivered the club. And in that golf swing, hopefully, it looked like it had rhythm, looked like it had tempo, looked like it had timing, and that's pretty much what it felt to me. It didn't feel rushed, and as I said, that's exactly what we're trying to do in this video. So once I've done a few of those and I've started to create that feeling, do I need to lift the heel? Absolutely not. I can start to then go ahead and just hit shots with those new ideas that I've built. But again, it's tempo, it's timing, it's giving ourselves the feelings that we want through the golf swing rather than that horrible rushed kind of hitting from the top feeling that many of you will have experienced, and we really want to try and eradicate that from your game. So a few drills there that you can do, some on the golf course, but mainly during practice initially to start to build those ideas, start to train the right way, start to change how you think about your golf swing a little bit, and we can start to see some really positive results out on the golf course. Thanks for watching. Drop down in the comments box. I'd love to get your thoughts. I do my best to respond to as many as I can. So if you drop down there, if you've got any questions to ask me, I'll get back to you. Hopefully answer that. And if you've got any videos, suggestions as well, drop those down there. It'd be really good if I can get this content tailored to you. Thanks to Pitch, fantastic venue. Thank you to them for giving me access to their studio. All the usual stuff is down below, including that like button, that subscribe button in the corner as well. Hopefully that helped, and hopefully I will see you back here again soon.